We're walking contradictions, seeking safety and predictability on one hand and diversity in the other. Esther Perel. Esther is one of the top relationship and couples therapists in the world, and she's the author of the New York Times bestselling book, Mating in Captivity. I am always astounded when I hear Miss Perel communicate an idea, share a thought that I absolutely needed to feature her on MasterTalk. Hi everyone, Brendan here from MasterTalk on your go-to channel to mastering your talk, and today we're talking about how to present like Esther Perel. So let's get dating?
Wait, are you dating?
Nah. Number one, open your presentations in a powerful and shocking way. What I love the most about her communication style is Esther, whenever she jumps on a stage, she's not afraid to be a little bit edgy, sarcastic, and controversial. She'll look at a crowd and say, raise your hand if you're in a couple or a relationship, and they all raise their hand. And then she says, keep your hand raised if you don't want to be in that relationship anymore. And it confuses people. We look back and say, oh, should I raise my hand? And we are at the edge of our seats because you don't know what Esther is going to share next. You don't know when she's going to pop an incredible story about a couple she worked with. And what I love is the dichotomy of ideas. She's always presenting two totem poles with each other, two extremes of one idea. Let me give you an example from the beginning of the video. Safety, predictability on one side, but diversity on the other. The need for playfulness, the need for adventure. So she brings two counters and displays them to the front of her audience. That's why it's so shocking whenever you hear her speak, because she's always going from one extreme to the other. Who's in a relationship? Me. But then who doesn't want to be in one? You're like, oh, wait, is that still me? So she's always keeping her audience guessing. So what's the lesson for you? I would say the lesson for all of us is to increase the self-esteem that we have with ourselves. Because once we love ourselves and we're focused on who we are and we're comfortable in our identity, it's easy for us to show up in a way that is natural to our own personality, like how she does when she communicates. But that also means once we figure out who we are, we can then be more comfortable sharing those edgy sides of our personality for the audience to leave captivated and engaged from our message. Number two, use everyday conversation to build a rock solid case for your own ideas. What I love about the way Esther communicates her ideas is she doesn't just explain the past in a boring and mundane way. She does it so that people are excited to hear her ideas further. The example she gives in her talks is around religion. So in the past, because of religion, the roles between a father and a mother, a wife and a husband were very well defined. This is what the wife did. This is what the husband did. And it's not about saying whether this is right or wrong, but it gave calmness and reassurance to everyone that this is how we lead in a family and there's not much optionality. Whereas today, what she argues is that because there's so many different options about how many roles we can take on and what it means to have a partner, it completely changes the dynamic and just creates a lot more complexity. But the difference between her and other people is that other historians or academics or professionals in her space explain that history in a really boring way. Whereas when she talks about it, she uses everyday conversation to bring the obvious to the forefront of the discussion of the keynote of the presentation she's giving. Here's an example of what I mean from one of her keynotes at South by Southwest, where she looks at the crowd and says, how many children should I have? Should I move east or west? How many dates should I go on? How many people should I be with? All of these questions create confusion, but it's done in such a playful way that it keeps us engaged. So what's the lesson? The lesson is a simple question for all of us. What kinds of conversation are people having around your own ideas? So for a communication expert like me, it's what do people talk about when the idea of communication gets brought up? Or if you're Esther, it's What type of conversations come up when we think of dating? Okay, who should we date? Should we use an app? Should we get married after? Should we move to this country? What the role should be? And those are the conversations that she hears, especially in her role as a counselor, as a therapist for couples. And that's what I want to bring to you. When you plug your world into those everyday conversations, when you bring your listening ear to them, you can listen to the problems that your audience is facing and bring them up in your presentations to make it more engaging, relatable, and exciting for people to find solutions to those problems. And finally, number 3, use history as a tool for comparison to talk about why your ideas matter in the future. What I love about the way Esther communicates is she uses history as a tool to compare ideas that were relevant in the past with ideas that are relevant today. So the example that she gives is around marriage and religion, where in the past, dating, marriage, was a lot easier because roles were very well defined. Whereas today, with the fall of the patriarchy, it's a lot easier to have options. It's a lot easier to pick between a lot more people, which also creates complexity. Because now you have so many options that you don't know what to choose anymore. But she's doing something implicitly in the way she's conveying that idea. And the implicit thought is that, hey, everyone, because I'm the person who explained the past so well, I'm also telling all of you indirectly that I have the solution for the future, so keep listening to me. I actually use this technique myself whenever I convey ideas around communication. So I don't just say, hey, listen to me, I'm some communication coach, I got a nice suit on. Instead, what I do is I say, wait a second. Every academic who came before me, every professional in the space, always compared communication to fear. And that's why we're all scared of it. Because we grew up believing that it was supposed to be fearful. But what if we lived in a world where everyone was excited about communication? So notice what I'm doing here. I'm using the history to explain what happened in the past, but I'm also telling you, my audience, that, hey, I probably have the solution to the future, so you want to follow me and listen to those ideas. And I actually learned that from listening to Esther Perel because she's so good at explaining the past and the present in such a compelling way that you listen to her and you go, please, Esther, tell me about the future. I need you to help me because you're right. My dating life sucks and there's so many options and I don't know who to pick or what to do. I need somebody to educate me, and thank God that you're here. And that's why she gets paid a ton of money to give presentations. So salute to her and use that as a lesson for your own ideas. Simple quote to end: the quality of your relationships dictates the quality of your life. I am so grateful for people like Esther to share great ideas because it helps us understand the complexity of not just relationships, but the world. And I love her courage, her bravery, and her tenacity to bring those ideas to the top. But I also encourage all of you listening to this to bring that same courage, to bring that same bravery into the ideas that you want to share with the world, because you'll never know what next opportunity, what big stage is waiting to hear your message. As always, if you enjoyed this week's episode of Master Talk, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well to see more videos like this. I also run bi-monthly online communication workshops that I do for free for the community. So if you want to jump in on one of them over Zoom, you'll find the link in the description below. Would love to see you there. And as always, if you know one person who's a fan of Esther Perel or needs help with relationships, be sure to send them this video so that they'll be one step closer to falling in love.